Ah, hey there. Sorry about that. Had to go down the hallway at the last minute. Let me switch over here. Hello, Thesis. I saw that, and you're more than welcome to join me if you want to. Otherwise, there won't be anybody here but me, and it'll be a really short show because I will go back to watching Radar Men from the Moon. Um, and on that note,
Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
hello, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield. Welcome to another edition of Last Man Standing, if only for a few moments. Uh, Turns out everybody that's normally here is either unwell or tired and gone to bed or went to a big event and got all tired out and went to bed or whatever. Um, that's neither here nor there. Um, Joe Dog schedules these things a month in advance without finding out whether anybody's actually going to be here. I don't mind. I can monologue for just a few minutes and play a couple of adverts, mostly for myself, because it's the only ones I've got loaded up here. And then say goodnight, everybody, and go watch my 1940s serial that I've been catching up on because I kind of like the old Republic serials, especially the science fiction ones. I can't play them here because that even if they are copyright free on somebody else's channel, I don't want to endanger Joe Dog getting a copyright strike from basically doing what a lot of people do on YouTube for uh, music video reviews or something and have to pause every 30 seconds to make sure that you don't get in trouble. So it'd be much better for me to just uh, do my stuff and say goodnight. Which, having an early night, I mean, it's it's happened a few times here lately, but it is turned into summertime and people have been busy going to conventions and having shift work and everything going on. So they're not as available as they were when we first started this back in the middle of the plague years of 2020 and 2021 when nobody could leave the house for fear of coming down with sudden death syndrome. So let me do the two adverts I've got here, which will take about almost 3 minutes, but you know, it's what I would normally do after the end credits roll anyway. So just sit back, relax, and I will try to interest you in investing some of your time and a couple of your dollars in something I wrote. Yeah, that was an advert for Abducted. It was a story that came out not too many years ago. Uh, Originally, I wrote it in the late 1990s, and it appeared on Aphelion uh, and was well received. Had lots of commentary and good reviews and whatnot before it ever went to a publisher. And Three Ravens was kind enough to pick it up and dust it off and set me up with an editor, and we improved it enormously through the feedback the editor, or in this case, editors, because several people read it and offered suggestions as well as the official editor. And it turned out to be a much better story than it ever had been before. And here it is in paperback, audiobook, and I don't know if it's hardback or whatever. And Foxy is with us now. Thank you, Foxy. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. Thesis showed up a few minutes ago as well. I know y'all are not late night people like me, but you know, it's one of those you still got a life. Uh, but, yeah, I was talking about the book. Yep, it's ebook, paperback, and audiobook. It's available all over the place. Um, Pretty much anywhere you want to shop for it, it should be available because Three Ravens has done a good job of spreading it around to all the different markets. It's the most common way to find it is to go on Amazon, which is kind of okay. You could also go on the Three Ravens website and buy it from them, and that way Amazon doesn't get a cut, which is no bad thing. Um, let's see, we've also got the re-release of my uh, Marin Ibrahim's Spaceport Bar series, Volume 1 now. I am busy writing Volume 2, among other things. Whenever I get stalled out on something, I switch to a different project and go on that till I get stalled up and switch to a different project or back to the first one. Um, it helps to be able to uh, have several different ways to stay productive. And if none of that works, I've got plenty of household repairs I need to do. Um, I've got to tear up the floor in the part of the living room and part of the kitchen and repair that from where one of the copper pipes sprung a leak and we didn't find it for a long time. Um, there's a lot of other things that need to be done around the house. My wife and I have been engaged in spring cleaning here, and we've made tremendous progress inside the house, as well as being able to make an attempt on keeping the the yard and the flowers and the hedgerows and whatnot looking decent rather than like nobody lives here. Uh, Believe me, it'd be a great disguise if I got an old junk car and set it up on blocks where people could see it when they drove by the road. Um, People would take one look at that and go, hey, either nobody's living there or a gun lives there. We ain't stopping. Uh, it's like some areas of Athens, to, even though they're not as bad as they used to be back in the bad old days. Um, People still refuse to drive through without locking their doors, which is kind of what I imagine aliens do when their flying saucers go past Earth. Is that they lock the doors. You don't want them damn humans to jump in and try and mug us or something. Uh, I got to write a story about that one day. I have written a story about um an alien that got his flying saucer hijacked by three North Georgia farmers, and they had a legitimate reason for taking over the flying saucer. It turned out that the alien had stolen some, shall we say, high value cash crops from their particular plot of land. And he hired a fellow I made up to be a very noir type private investigator in, at the time, what passed for modern day is about half a century out of date now, but uh, yeah, there was a plot twist in there and a few other things, but it worked out. Um, that fellow's name was Douglas Simon Daly, and when he was in school, people called him D-Day. Uh, Not because he was particularly violent or explosive. It's just because they couldn't think of anything else that they could call him that wouldn't result in a schoolyard altercation best left undescribed. Because, it was the 70s, so, it would have just been fisticuffs or, at the very worst, the police having knives and winding up no longer in possession of them when they got started. But, yeah, and D-Day has described has complained about his life. It's just his major complaint seems to be summed up as, "What am I? A weirdness magnet?" His cases turn out to be absolutely weird. The one with the flying saucer turned out to be, it started out as a simple divorce case following some guy's wife around, um, seeing who it was that she was fooling around on him with, taking a few photographs, making notes, making, you know, gathering evidence of what motel they went to for their assignation, which I hope is a word that people know. If it's not, it's a truly wonderful word. I highly recommend it to your vocabulary. It is quite useful in these situations. And then a story that I have not written yet. He is hired by what he comes to find out is a vampire whose coffin has been stolen by a museum. There's another one where he gets hired by the ghost of a Civil War soldier whose grave had just been excavated during new construction in a nearby town, trying to find evidence that his death was not caused by wounds suffered in the war, but by someone he knew shooting him in the back. There was another one which uh, basically he got hired by a haunted house to rid it of the ghosts. Part of that one has been written, either that or it is a prequel to that one. There, that it's a weird story that was written, is a flash fiction piece in it. Had a 1,000 word deadline, so I couldn't really go into my excess verbiage development of a plot. I had to pare everything down to just the essential words. Flash fiction is like that. It teaches you to write more succinctly, to discover what level of description is absolutely vital and what is, I hate to say padding, and I hate to say superfluous. because I'm really good at superfluous padding. But these things that happen. Flash fiction is one of those things that'll teach you to be a better writer. It's a good exercise. You've got a firm 1,000 word limit. You have to write the entire story in that. There are shorter limits available in drabbles and things. Um, there's one there's one steampunk story I've written that pretty much fell out into 2,000 word chapters, and I had an 8,000 word limit on that particular piece for the place I was going to submit it. Um, it got accepted, but before I could get paid for it, I mean, I'd signed the contract and everything. Before I could get paid for it, part of the contract said you will get paid when the book comes out. Before the book came out, the publisher took it over from the managing editor and accepted other stories by professional writers that had come in after the submissions deadline, and then sent me a message going, I'm sorry, this person sent us a story. We have to make room for it. They've got a big name. Their name on the cover is going to sell a whole lot more copies of the book than your name on the cover because nobody knows who you are. Everybody knows who they are. Notice I'm not even giving a gender here, but they were absolutely right. That person's name on the cover would sell a whole lot more copies of the book than my name on the cover ever would. And so my story was left out, and I never got paid. But the rights automatically reverted back to me, and I kept going, well, there's more to this. I just had an 8,000 word limit. I can write more. There was another story that has been serially blocked from publication by someone who claims I stole his idea. Those of you who know me personally will know how ridiculous that is. And I will say there is a tiny percent of similarity. Both of our stories involved trains, and they were both steampunk. That's about it. None of the characters, none of the details, none of the engineering, none of the plot, nothing is anything nearly similar. That one is getting additional chapters added to it, and it has become a steampunk romance as well as an adventure story. What else? The fantasy novel. It's going to be a novelette at the very most. Probably in order to make it worth putting out as a book, I'll probably have to combine it with other fantasy works that I have long ago finished and have no interest in revisiting. But, depending on when I'm able to spare time. Oh, hello, Carl. Uh, I thought you were going to bed.
Oh, I tried that. Yeah, that didn't work too well.
Well, I'm glad to have you.
Well,
Uh,
thanks.
I'm just sitting here monologuing, and hey,
You were doing
somebody here.
you were doing fine.
Well, I was just talking about stuff that I've got in production and whatnot, and
Hmm.
bemoaning the amount of time I'm having to divert from um, trying to avoid writing to trying to avoid yard work or housework or whatever.
Amen
Uh,
to that. Amen to that.
yeah,
I always look out and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I feel guilty about not doing outside I should be doing. But yeah,
yeah, but
and
there's a
I
lot of
use
stuff.
that. Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff inside that I feel guilty about not doing, and I'm inside and I'm not doing that either. So,
yeah. Might as well feel guilty about not writing either. So I mean,
yeah,
might
hey,
throw it all together.
yeah, really. Uh,
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my most bemoaned thing is I do need to finish off my short story on DB Cooper that I'm working
I
on.
am looking forward to that. I am really because after going through your Somerton Man story,
Hmm.
I am really interested in finding out what your take on DB Cooper turns out to be.
Okay.
Because I know that you do a lot of research,
Yeah.
and rather than writing a true crime book, you're going to take everything that you've read as research and you're going to spin it into your own story, which will be a story,
Hmm.
not this is what went down back in the day.
Right. Yes, because I really do believe that there was a very similar hijacking after that, almost to the letter of what Cooper did, and
Yeah,
that guy was caught, and his name was Richard something, Richard McCoy, I think is his name. Then he escaped from prison and got shot. And that's probably who DB was if he made it through the first, parachuting. It probably was McCoy. That's probably who it was. But I've got a different take on it that I'm going to put on there that I think will make people go, Carl, I hate you.
well, isn't that one of the reactions a writer wants?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, Thesis got a totally different
Oh, there
theory.
you go. That be.
Birdman. Um, God, I've been infected by too many cartoons. Ah,
Well, that happens.
oh, believe me, um, I'm still waiting on somebody to tell me I've been stealing from uh, the Herculoids or the Galaxy
Oh,
Trio or something. I'm just going, no.
yeah.
Um,
All those plots go through your head, as you experience them in life. And sometimes it'll be playing in the background somewhere. You don't even realize that it's gotten into the subconscious, and
mhm.
whiling around in there. Along with all the classical things you've read, maybe you've uh, studied some things that happened in the 20s and 30s, and maybe even before then. You read stories, you read classic stories, and they all percolate in your head, and
Mhm.
pieces and come out, but it's like chili. Everybody's chili is different because they make it differently. They use slightly different ingredients, not carrots, but they they use slightly different ingredients to make it their chili. So you can't say, "Oh, that guy stole my chili," unless he actually went over, grabbed your little index card, and stole it out of your box. And the writing's the same way. You could write something, and it could be rather similar, but it's not the same because it's you that wrote it and your take on
Yeah. And like my chili,
it. Hmm.
I can't ever write the same thing the same way twice.
Yeah, true.
Thesis is hoping that people will very much hate him for the ending of his story that's coming out
Uh
Sunday.
oh. Now I'm
Yeah.
dreading. I was looking forward to reading it. Now I'm dreading it.
No, no, it's good.
Oh,
It's good.
good.
I, I'm saying that as the guy that had to proofread it, and that
Mm,
took like
okay.
scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, typo. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, I know exactly what word you did not type there. I can see the empty space where you meant to.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it.
That happens.
Um, Foxy's story was very much the same. Um, she
Very good.
had the it's problem that I used to have because when I was in grade school, the
Mm-hmm.
teachers there told us, "Oh, we've done away with the difference between
Mm-hmm.
the contraction and the possessive. It's always got an apostrophe in it. Always. We never have to worry about that again." And I
Okay.
get to college and find out they lied.
Oh man.
It was just that school was going, these English teachers are tired of trying to correct kids, so they go,
Oh.
we'll make up this. And by the time they graduate, it'll be somebody else's problem.
Hmm.
Welcome to sixth grade.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
I know, I know.
Yeah, I get that confused every once in a while too. As many years as I've done it, and
Hmm.
Donna always corrects me on it when I do it. So it's like, okay, she's a good editor for that, and she finds it on my Facebook posts too. Of course, she corrects things on there, and she's right on most all of them. So
Yeah. My pet peeve is then and than.
yes, learn the difference.
Th-
Learn the difference, people.
And people will use both of them and still be wrong both times in the same post.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes like I will just be typing so fast and thinking so fast ahead, and I'll be editing one word and I don't won't even look at the other word, and that's the wrong one. That's the one that needs to be fixed.
Hmm.
I'll be like, oh, I know a better way to reword this, and sometimes I'll even go back and edit my post two or three times, like I'm writing a story. It's just a post. I mean, but I'll do it, and in doing so, of course, I enter errors into it that weren't there
Hmm.
before. Because you take out a word and put another word in there. Yeah,
Then you've got to worry about the grammar not matching.
mhm. A or an or or whatever. So yeah, those kind of things matter, and then looks funny, and then Donna catches me on it, like darn.
Lindsay agonizes over everything she
Hmm.
posts.
Okay.
She is an absolute perfect line editor,
Mm.
if you know the difference between that
Mhm.
and a general.
Mhm.
But she will go through and it's a post with less than 100 words. It'll
Mhm.
take her half a day to make
Yeah.
sure everything is perfect, and then she'll come and ask me to read it through. She'll go, "Mr. Editor, sir," and I'm going, "It's a Facebook post. Just hit no. Okay.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, I can't do that.
you need a comma there. Um, okay, no typos.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
she's fanatic about it. Of course, one of the first commissions she ever had was to be a line editor on a very, very famous uh, Jack the Ripper fact book.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So somebody gave her the raw manuscript, She went through every sentence in that book to make sure everything lined up, everything was
Mhm.
picture perfect.
Oh yeah,
And I think she got paid a little bit, but not
hmm
much, 'cause long before we ever met.
sure.
But
Well, sometimes
yeah,
it's the ability to be a part of something. Even if the thing only sells 10 copies, you were a part of it, and you feel like, hey, I helped do that, and yeah, I didn't get paid much, but it was an experience, and I got the prestige of it. Okay, cool.
yeah.
And then
And
other,
here it is.
you
Here
know,
it is. Over 30 years later, the book's still in print.
well, that's always good. Yeah.
Like I said, it's a very, very famous JTR source book, fact book.
Okay.
Um, and the writer, I'm not sure if the writer is still with us anymore,
Well,
but she did
what?
her part. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of her satisfaction came from making sure that it was perfect
Mm-hmm.
before she turned it back over to him.
Yeah.
Um, there are a lot of people that could use a line editor with that kind of dedication.
Yeah. And if you're not gonna be able to pay people much, at least give them credit for things. You know, um, we helped somebody one time that didn't even want to give us credit in the thing for editing. I'm like, okay, you want to be that
We'll
way?
never do that again.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for very low cost or free. Um, you know, I don't know what it is. Some people don't want anybody to think that they needed editing. Maybe they've got this big pride thing. It's everything I write is perfect, and it didn't need to be fixed by anybody else. And I don't want anybody knowing that it was fixed. So I don't even want to list an editor on here because, and I'm just imagining that's what went through this person's head, but who knows?
I have had Aphelion submissions like that, and I go, well, I could. Let's see. You might need to use this word instead of that word in this sentence, and 5 paragraphs later, you could clarify that with another sentence in there. And I got the email back going, no, my writing is polished to perfection. It is written in unchangeable granite letters 10 feet tall. You are not allowed to change a single period anywhere. And I'm going, okay, buddy.
Okay, thank
I
you for
will.
your submission. Take it away.
No, no. I put it online exactly as written
Hmm.
and let the forums tell
Ah,
him,
yeah.
let the readers tell him, oh, well, this needed to be fixed and this needed to be fixed. And
Mm,
you lost track of that sentence in the middle somewhere.
yeah.
And it's like, you don't want my help?
Mhm.
You don't get my help.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's probably what.
Here's Johnny. Uh,
I think that's probably what also makes Lindsay so cautious, is because she's probably seen those kinds of things happen before with other folks.
oh yeah,
Think I
yeah.
want to be perfect because someone will find some sniggly little thing. I don't mind if somebody finds a grammatical thing. If they find an error in logic in my work, then I need to, be upset maybe because I made a logical error. Oh no, uh, or they find something chronological in it that didn't quite work
You
out.
were off. You were off by 6 months in this paragraph. Yeah.
Like, or if I've said something happened this way and then later say it happened a different way, that's not good, you know,
Hmm.
for that, unless there's a reason for it. You know,
And that's why different editors are essential to the process.
Mhm.
I mean, if you get an email going, "Hey, this guy's eyes were brown in the first third of the book, and they're green in the
Mhm.
second third, and now they're blue in
Yeah,
the last third, um, where's your continuity going? And
Yeah. Yeah.
well, it happens,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you write part of something and set it down for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
then come back to it later, and you know what you meant
Mm-hmm.
to write,
Mm-hmm.
even though you didn't actually include that particular sequence.
Right. Exactly. That's what gets me in trouble sometimes. Oh, that's what thesis worries about.
Yeah, the writers in the forum tearing him apart. No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Probably not. Uh,
No, I don't think that's going to happen at all. Um,
but yeah, I will occasionally have something that I'm like, okay, I'm hoping this is going to work. And usually, like I say, Donna or someone else who I let see it will say, no, that's not going to work because you didn't say this. And I'm like, yeah, I did. No, no, actually, I didn't. Yeah, it's in here, but it didn't get translated to the paper somehow. Or
Actually, when I first read Thesis's story,
mm-hmm,
when I emailed him back and told him how much I loved it,
mm-hmm,
I was going, if it was me writing it, I would have put the plot twist this way, but I
mm-hmm,
like the way you did it instead.
mm-hmm.
And it's no two writers write the same thing the same way.
No, exactly. That's the beauty of it all.
There's a writers challenge we did one time in the Spaceport Bar stuff
Mm-hmm,
where I wrote a scene the way I saw it happen. The challenge was for other writers to come in, take the same scene, make the point of view character somebody different,
mm-hmm,
and write the way that character saw the same thing. It's sort of like those um, police drama things where you get a room full of witnesses that see the entire thing play out,
mm-hmm.
and no two of them have the same story about what they witnessed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Goes back to the Seven Samurai. Is that the
Um,
Kurosawa film?
I've seen it.
I haven't actually seen the whole film, but I had to study it, parts of it, for a film class I took in college. Just a little fun thing. That film class taught me a lot about story, about
hmm
how to tell a story and such. But the idea was that yeah, 6 or 7 people see something, they experience it differently, they tell it differently, they
uh,
will rush us on. Yeah,
Rashomon.
rush them on. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Seven Samurai was one of the inspirations for Magnificent Seven,
Yeah.
if I
Okay.
remember
I
correctly.
knew I was getting it confused with a different movie. Thank you.
Well, there's another Kurosawa film that was very heavily influencing Lucas when he was writing Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember the name of the film, but I have I have not seen that one.
Mm.
But having seen Seven Samurai and having seen Magnificent Seven and seeing the way the writers paralleled each other, I'm
Mm-hmm.
willing to bet, yeah, Lucas did
Yeah.
do
Oh,
this. He did see it. I mean, he took film classes and whatnot. Probably had
mm-hmm.
to Hidden
Yeah.
Fortress. Thank you, thesis. Hidden Fortress. That's the name I could not remember.
Okay.
I have not seen that, so I can't compare it to Star Wars. But a lot of other people have seen both and have done so. Um,
Yeah. And those things, they rattle around your head for years till they're useful, and you pick out that ingredient and plop. There you go. And it's a totally
yeah,
story, but it's just maybe some of the characteristics come through in a different way, you know. But it's yeah, a different setting. You know, you got different characters. It's not, you know, like you just ripped it off and shoved your name on the cover and said, "Here you go." I've seen that. I've seen that happen on a book.
Yes, yes.
Um,
I
but
was I was kind of worried. One of the stories in the Spaceport Bar book is a locked room mystery,
mhm,
and I freely admit that I have seen the Thin Man movies over and over and
mhm,
over again, and some of that came out
sure,
in the actual story.
yeah,
I'm going, well, if you're going to steal shit, you might as well be stealing it from the best. Don't steal it from some other hack.
yeah.
Uh, Morning, Mike Jimmy. How you doing? Uh, Rashomon was also the basis for a Jet Li movie Hero. Yes, three different stories of one event being told from three different perspectives. Yes.
Yeah, I even used that somewhat on the Mad Gasser cheerleader. Okay, because as the reader goes through, he does certain incidents. Okay, and we hear those incidents basically from the narrator, who's kind of invisible, uh, but the narrator kind of tells us these incidents, and we hear his thoughts at the time. Okay, so you know we know what's going on at that time. 40 years later, he's recalling some of these incidents, and you'll notice that they're not quite the same. He's recalling them differently because he's aggrandized himself up in the
Uh
story,
huh.
and he's always much better off in the story than he was in his story in the future than he was in the past when he really did the things. So the reader, if they're really paying attention, will go, "Wait a minute, that didn't happen like that," and then they'll
Yeah.
the fantasy of this guy is playing with everything. Because I mean, once you start fantasizing about stuff, you might as well go whole hog, I guess.
Yeah. Every villain is a hero of their own story.
Mhm.
Even if they've got to fix the story in their mind.
Exactly. I'm sure it happened that way. Yeah.
Yeah, really. I just had to kind of repair a few things
Mhm.
along the way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Um, that's a
Ah.
good recommendation. If you haven't seen Hero, I highly suggest it. Just don't watch the Miramax version because they really fucked it up.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that doesn't surprise me.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Did I see Mike Jimmy's got a new job?
yes, yes, today's
Oh.
his first day on the new job. Otherwise, we'd be asking him to pop in, but he's getting ready to go to work, so
Oh.
that's not going to happen.
For some
Um,
reason, we were doing something, and I missed the first part of his show. And when by the time I popped in, he was already doing his animation. So I was like, "Cool," and I didn't get to go back. And so if he announced it this morning, I missed it.
um, well, it was not only this morning, but he had announced it uh, elsewhere uh, earlier than today, I do
Oh,
believe.
okay, cool.
Uh,
Good.
my memory is not what
Uh,
it used to be.
yeah,
Um,
understand that. And we
yeah,
we we meet people in various spots, you know, and be like, "Did that happen over here? Did it happen in Joe's show? Did that happen? Where did that happen?"
yeah. I I actually ran into a guy I used to work with at the factory today in the grocery store.
Hmm,
We almost didn't recognize each other.
out of place.
Exact. Neither one of us were wearing a hard hat and safety
Yeah,
glasses. So
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That can happen easily. After I had just started maybe the first 6 months to a year that I was working in the counselor job that I had with the state, and this we were at the mall in Champaign, and this guy in grungy clothes with paint all over him came up and said, "Hey, Carl, how you doing?" I'm like, you have to remind me." He's like, "Well, I'm Jeff." I'm like, "Oh crap, he's my boss's boss." But I don't see him very often because he was in Champaign. We were in Danville, 30 miles away. I hadn't met him that many times, but the fact that he was in the mall, he was dressed shabbily I always saw him in a suit and tie, you know. So I was like, okay, yeah. When you meet somebody out of place,
Yeah,
often,
I was once at an Electric Light Orchestra concert with a date.
mm, hmm
And who do you think was sitting next to us at the concert? My mother's boss.
yeah, yeah, and you probably don't know them very well. I mean, do you? Did you?
No, no, but
Yeah,
I'm just going, no,
familiar.
don't pass that to me. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
pass it on, pass it on. Don't let my mom's boss see me with that. He'll tell my mother. Uh,
yeah. Then you'll be in trouble.
yeah, I will be in trouble, big time. No, but it turned out uh, it got passed to him, and he didn't waste the opportunity either. So mutual blackmail.
What
Uh,
happens at the concert? Yeah, stays at the concert.
what happens at ELO concerts stays at ELO concerts. Yes. Uh,
I have some friends that had a show at one time before the video and YouTube exploded. They had one of these things called a podcast, and almost like a radio show. Remember those? Um, but yeah, they were talking about one time about this guy was he was looking for bitters to make a Manhattan, I think. And so he went to a liquor store and he couldn't find it at the first one. He went to another one. He's like, and then I ran into somebody I think I knew at the third liquor store, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I hope they don't think badly of me for searching the liquor store in the middle of the day. Because of course you don't think about liquor during the workday or anything like that, right? And then he thought, oh, wait a minute, he's in the liquor store in the middle of the day too. He
huh.
can't say anything to me. So yeah, that's funny. The people,
You just walk up and go, "Hiya, Reverend,"
yeah, exactly, exactly.
and that way you make sure that it never gets back to the congregation. Um,
Did you find any bitters? I'm still looking. Yeah,
they're in the grocery store next to the lime juice. Okay.
I don't think the poor guy ever found them. So
Oh well.
he had to borrow some off his father-in-law, I guess, or something.
Hey. Nowadays, I'd say get with Ted and
Oh,
oh
and
God,
Christine.
and
Yeah,
Christine.
yeah.
Christine makes some homemade
Oh
that
yeah.
is just as good as
Oh yeah.
the store bought.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, I really need to compliment Christine. Um, Lindsay decided to turn some spaghetti sauce into burritos
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and used the grub rub and the
Oh
taco seasoning
yeah.
that Christine makes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, that was good.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, it was Lindsay's spaghetti sauce to start with, so it was already awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But turning spaghetti sauce into uh, burrito
Oh yeah.
taco mix sort
Mm-hmm.
of meat sauce, you've got to be right on with the actual spice mix because
Yeah.
it's so easy to screw that up.
Yeah. That's true.
And Christine's um, taco spices and grub rub, it went I mean, it was like somebody just flipped a switch from the normal light to the strobe light.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well,
Uh,
we were going through it there for a while rather heavily, and then we were ordering more, and I thought we haven't ordered any in a while. Are we not using enough of it or what? And Donna's like, no, she sent us two things of grub rub and two things of chili pepper or chili powder the last time. I'm like, did we order that much or did she just send it? And Donna's like, I don't remember either. So she was happy with what payment we'd sent. She was happy with what she sent. Cool.
uh-huh.
If it was kind of a gift, that's nice, but you don't have to do that. We're cool.
No, I've got to say, Ted and Christine are just absolutely great people.
Yeah.
Uh, I thought the year that they were there at Hallowcon was one of the best years.
Hmm.
Uh, I know Ted was not making very many sales, but then nobody else was either.
Yeah. They'll have
But
years
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's such a tiny convention to start with.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big difference between sales at some place where there's 5,000 people at and there's only 500 people at, if that many.
Hmm. Right.
Uh, oh, and Mike Jimmy's got a good point here. Um, the problem is at the liquor store in the middle of the day, the problem would be drinking whatever you buy me. Well, Mike Jimmy, I promise I wait till I get home.
That's a good thing. Yeah. If you're not walking and carrying your brown paper bag, I don't know how they do it where he is, but around here they give it to you in a brown paper bag, and you have to unscrew the top and drink it out of there and keep the bag on there, or else you'll be in trouble.
Yeah, or else somebody
American,
will get
yeah,
any Coca-Cola.
yeah,
However, they see the brown paper bag and they know it ain't a Coca-Cola.
exactly. But American law is weird sometimes, and what certain towns do and what has become custom. So if you see somebody drinking out of a brown paper bag around here, it's alcohol. You know.
Yeah, I've just made it a habit, um, if not an OCD habit. Buy whatever you want, whenever you want.
Mhm.
Don't open anything till you get to the house.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Especially, like I say, if you're driving, don't. And maybe not
You
even
know,
on the bus. It's not a good.
um,
You'll miss your stop.
I went riding around with my second wife's dad one day. He was a snake oil salesman, basically.
Mm-hmm.
In this van had all kinds of stuff. It was overpriced out the wazoo, and he'd go into these neighborhoods that were lower income
Mm-hmm.
and sell them stuff. And basically, it would be so overpriced he'd have to come back the next month and get the next payment and the next month and get. And he
Oh.
said, "Look, this is how it works. I make my money back when they buy it the first time.
Hmm.
If they never pay me for anything else, I've
Mm-hmm.
still got enough to replace my stock plus a little extra. The
Okay.
rest of it is just interest." And
Hmm.
I'm looking at him and going, "The rest of it is just freaking extortion, dude.
Yeah.
Uh,
Your
you're
profit.
taking advantage of poor people by
Mm-hmm.
making them pay for a can of bug spray 15 times
Mm-hmm.
when
Yeah.
you already got the full price and more the first time."
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't see any problem with it. And he had me driving so he could sit in the passenger seat and drink beer through the whole ordeal.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and I'm going, "No, I can't drink anything. I'm driving." He goes, "Okay, more for me." And I'm going, "You do realize if we get pulled over because you can't keep that can in the bag, you're still going to have to pay the tickets, and it's going to go on my license
Mm-hmm.
as having a intoxicated passenger with an open container, even
Yeah.
though it's not my car.
Right.
Anyway, I never did that again. Um, but I never told him how much I disapproved of his business practices either.
Mm.
It's
Wouldn't have
just,
done
hey,
it. Wouldn't have done any
it
good.
wouldn't have done anything except uh, probably uh, made problems at home with my second wife.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you put my father down for a lifelong practice? Uh, Hand me that 12 pack. I'm going to drive out and get some more crack cocaine.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Just sometimes things will bring you aggravation you don't need. You know.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I've just got the attitude. No, this is soul destroying.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it. And I can only choose for myself. I can't make anybody else go by my rules.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I figure
Well,
if I can keep my nose clean, I'm doing the best I can.
exactly.
Everybody else, they're on their own. I'm not in charge of anyone.
That this is how I feel when things will be said like in on Facebook or different things, and I will be like, "Oh, I know that's wrong," but you know what? I don't argue with them, and telling them that it's wrong is not going to change their mind. This is going to do no good. It's only going to aggravate me by you know scroll scroll right on. you know,
Really?
unless it's just something that somebody's going to get injured or messed up for life, then okay, maybe it's worth getting involved at that point. But there's a lot of times it's just like, yeah, okay, that's nice, buddy. On we go.
Well, most of the time in those situations, I just look at it and I go, not my circus, not my monkeys.
Mhm.
I
That's
will move along.
that's a good attitude because you'll be a lot happier too.
Well, I worry about whoever it was because
Hmm.
most of the time it's somebody that I at least know distantly,
Hmm.
and rather than just absolute perfect strangers.
Hmm.
But
But if you
yeah,
if you really knew them and liked them, you probably would say something, and I would.
well, if I knew them and liked them, I'd be doing it in person, not on Facebook.
Oh, right, exactly.
I mean, whether or not it got me thrown into their life, that's an open question. But if that happens, then I'm going, I wasn't a good enough influence on them to make a difference. Maybe I wasn't that important in their worldview to start with.
Mm-hmm.
I will miss them,
Mm-hmm.
but I've got my own life I've got to take care of.
Sure.
It's like
Well,
one of my best friends. Um, he and his first wife got divorced, and then a few months later, she got involved with one of our mutual best friends.
oh,
He
okay.
had Well, I mean, it wasn't during the divorce, it was months afterwards,
Yeah.
after it was final.
All that
And,
wibbly wobbly.
oh, his favorite line was, "My wife ran off with my best friend and I miss him."
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
But
I've
you
rec I've
know.
recently reconnected with that particular best friend, and, uh, he is now a drama teacher, and he spends half a year in Colorado and half a year at a school in Gainesville, Georgia. No, no, not Gainesville. Um, No, it must be Gainesville because the one I was thinking of, it was in Jefferson, and they would not have a drama class.
Okay.
Gainesville has a junior college with
Oh,
lots of artsy sort of programs,
okay.
but he'll go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Nice.
Um, hey,
Nice.
he would be a great teacher. He back when we knew each other before he ever actually uh, went back to school to become a teacher, he thought that his lifelong ambition was to be a soap opera actor.
Hmm.
He would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been. There were many a um, drunken evening when we and several of our friends were together, and basically we were practicing storytelling around a campfire without the campfire,
Mm-hmm.
and come up with these amazing scripts for stories that nobody would have ever bought, but they would have been fun.
Yeah.
Uh, and then, he decided that he was going to get serious about it and went to school. And now he's a drama teacher and he does different plays, not only as an actor in different places, but with his students as actors. And he's more the producer director rather
Nope.
than one of the actors. So, hey, the man's living the life.
Yeah. Yeah. He's working in the field, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're talking about, telling people when you have a problem with their behavior somehow. And we've had friends like that we've just said, look, we like you, but whatever that is you're doing on
Yeah.
Tuesday afternoon really has us worried or bugs us or whatever. Uh, can you think about not doing that or look into why you're doing it?
Yes. And that's where your counselor
Mm,
brain comes in.
exactly. You know,
Yeah.
it's still
I'm,
haunting
I'm
me.
I'm in a very similar situation. Even as we speak,
Mm-hmm.
there is someone we both know
Uh-huh.
who has no brakes.
Okay. Okay.
And there
Oh,
are.
and it's not you, young lady, if you're watching later. We have another friend who thinks everything's about her. So, no.
Oh, okay. No, no, it's not about you. It's about him.
Okay.
Um, but no, no, absolutely fantastic guy,
Mm-hmm.
but hasn't grasped the concept of the give and take of a conversation.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
It's all monologue
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's talking over top of everybody and it's not listening to anything else anybody else says. And it's, oh, well, here's this tangent that I find interesting. And
Yeah.
down that rabbit hole you go for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Um,
And nobody else
and
wants
like I said, I don't bear him. I don't bear him any ill will. It's just we've run up against this. Can't get a word in edgewise phenotype of a personality before,
to.
and sometimes you have to lay down the law or put your foot down or whatever the metaphor of the day
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where my past works against me sometimes because when I was working as a counselor, uh, my training was be quiet, listen, and find out when they tell you the important bits that they don't even know themselves, but they will eventually blurt it out somewhere in the conversation, and then you'll go, "Oh, hey, that's something we should talk about today." Um,
Mhm.
so you were always listening to what the person had to say. Then I went over and switched to IT, and that it was a totally different one where you had to say, "Okay, is this computer doing this? Is the keyboard? Is there a light on the keyboard? Is the mouse moving around the desk at all? Are the lights out at your office? Maybe
Yeah,
you have
really.
electricity." But you had to. I had to change from
I
this.
don't have an internet connection.
Yeah,
Well, have you turned the computer off and turned it back on? That won't work. The power's out. Uh,
yeah. I've had that actually happen.
hey, my favorite one is the person that phoned up the computer manufacturer complaining about their cup holder being broken.
Mhm.
They put a big drink in the CD-ROM drive and broke the tray off.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
But I had to change my job, my whole way of working. From listening only to going and asking all those questions and getting the person to answer because they didn't know what the real problem was either. But it was a different way of figuring out what the problem was that they come with.
Totally
Yeah.
different logic chain.
Mhm. And now sometimes I fall back into the counselor mode, and I'll just sit there and let somebody talk and talk and talk, and I should interrupt them, but I don't. And then the other people will say, "Why didn't you interrupt them?" I'm like, "Oh, that's right. Yeah, I got in
I
counselor
was
mode.
I was waiting on the clues.
Yeah, and
Why are they doing this? That's what I was waiting on.
so I need to work on that some more, I guess, in my interactions now, to help people because there are subtle social clues. You know.
Yes, and there are people who, for legitimate reasons,
Mm-hmm.
don't recognize those social clues
Mm-hmm.
because legitimate reasons.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, if a
And
person's deaf or blind, or they've got some sort of autism, or they've got some sort of um, there's some anxiety disorders that will do this, where you just don't catch the facial expressions of others, where you don't catch
mhm,
the way people are moving, and you don't know. Oh, what I'm saying is making other people uncomfortable.
yeah, I'm
Pardon me. Sorry.
I'm I'm
Sorry.
dreading the confrontation when it comes, or if it comes. But there
Yeah.
there are there are people that we, as the people that do stupid o'clock, last
Hmm.
man standing, would love to be able to have on the show that avoid doing the show because of this person being here.
Wow. Yeah, that's sad.
Well, and I can't blame them.
No,
They
no.
they have they have every right to be uncomfortable and go, I'm not going to get into this.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just it's one of those things where the the executive council of both channels
Hmm.
has come to the agreement of no, we're not going to give them the link to be in the show anymore.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Sometimes that has to be done as well.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But the other people have a right to be here too, and they do contribute without making people uncomfortable.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's it's not like we're trying to get monetized. It's not like we're trying to make a living off ads or anything.
No.
It's
No.
just we want to hang out with our friends and have a good time. And if somebody makes all of our friends uncomfortable, maybe it's time to tell them to start their own party and
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
gather their own crowd. Um,
Yeah.
hey, it's that easy. Basically, StreamYard has a free version.
Oh, yeah.
You
Absolutely.
can you can get what 6 people together without having to shell out any money whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. To have a, a
Yeah, or
chat.
you could you could go to Discord and have a huge amount of people on the screen at one time, and nobody nobody even blinks an eye at how many people are there or whatever. You got you can have the focus be whatever it is you want. I
Uh,
mean, it's not even like a Zoom call or the old uh, deceased Facebook thing. Is she awake?
yeah. She's wondering why I'm awake. Okay. No, everything's cool. Yeah, I'm on Last Man Standing. Okay.
Tell her I love her and I said to go back to bed.
She heard you. Going. I'm going. Uh, yeah, she always wonders why is he up at this hour? That can't be right.
Because you took a nap earlier today and now you're awake.
Oh yeah,
Ah,
my first woke up. I think it was 2:30 in the morning for some reason. It wasn't a cat this time. I don't know. I must have had a backache or something. Got up and made some coffee, had a cigar, went on YouTube, went back to bed, slept until about 7 or so, got up again. Then she gets up, and I'm like, "Is this your first time getting up?"
hiya, baby. Is this your first time?
Yeah, I've been up and twice already. Come on. Weird thing to say. But yeah, and then I did fall asleep for a while there during Stupid O'Clock, and then got back up. Like, okay, nope, not going back to bed, I guess.
Um, no. During the early part of the week, like Monday through Wednesday, I've been well. Even today, I've been waking up at like 8 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
and I'm going. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Dog, don't hog my pillow when I'm gone. And
Hey, no.
5 minutes later, I'm back into bed and I'm snoring. Um, and Lindsay's up and feeding the cats and feeding the dog and whatever. And I'm just if I'm lucky, I'll wake up by 10 so I can watch Nick's shows. Um, and I'm retired. I don't care what time I get up. I'll get something accomplished during the day, even if it's just a little thing.
Sure.
Um, and, uh, and and here it is, Thursday. I'm up late at night doing the show, which means it will not be 8 o'clock in the morning when I wake up the first time. It'll probably be about noon.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've still got stuff I've got to do.
Well, I think people understand on Friday mornings why you're not going to be on Nick's show. I mean, they know you do a show tonight. So, I mean,
Hmm. Well, I mean, I started off watching Mike Jimmy's show this afternoon.
mhm.
I'd already been up for hours,
Mm.
and I'm going, oh, I've got to go and do this. I've got to go and do. It's almost the end of the month. I've got to go and fill the gas tank on one of the cars because tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I lose my bonus fuel points for last month.
Okay.
So, had $1 a gallon off on gas.
Ooh, yeah, you can't pass that.
No, I can't just waste that.
No.
And Tomorrow, I've got to go right back to that same store,
Mm.
and I've got to get um, 38 fuel points, which will give me $1 a gallon off next month.
Wow, nice.
Well, it means I've got 960 something points,
Hmm.
probably 962. But and Fridays is like um, triple fuel point day, quadruple fuel
Wow.
point day. Tomorrow is 5 times
Whoa.
fuel point day. They don't do that often.
Oh, I bet.
So
Um,
Lindsay said, "Oh, you can go in and find that one bag of dog food that we don't need for another week,
hmm.
but since you've got to do it,
Yeah.
this will be the thing."
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
And
Sure.
uh, uh, usually, what I do is I'll go in, and if I've got something in mind to cook for her on Sunday, which she has
Hmm.
graciously granted me the use of her kitchen on the weekend.
Yeah. That's her weekend off, so to speak.
Yeah, but she cooked like a week's worth of food yesterday and this morning, and we've got breakfast casserole and um, uh, 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 broiled potatoes and all kinds of things.
Hmm.
But if there was something I had in mind, she would not object to me
Right.
going, it's Sunday, baby. I need the stove
Hmm.
or I need the grill. And although going outside to use the grill is kind of, is it raining?
Yeah.
Is it threatening to rain? It's Georgia. Dare I take the chance? you know, I don't think I've used the grill yet this year. And, yeah, there's a couple of things I'd like to do. I need one or two things that aren't really expensive, but
Yeah.
they're kind of special. I'd
Hmm.
have to I'd have to hunt for it myself and make sure I got exactly the right thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, I have fun doing what little I can do.
Hmm.
You know,
That's cool.
it's not like I'm a gourmet chef. It's more like I'm a retired uh, what do you call them at the Waffle House, whatever, short order cook.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of a funny story. Um, when we were in Ohio, um, we stopped at the Waffle House to eat breakfast, and there was a new gal there, or she was very young, uh, and I'm assuming she was pretty new because we ordered two coffees, and then she brought the cokes over to us. We said, "No, we want a coffee." Oh, okay. And then something else about Donna's order was kind of messed up, but she fixed it, you know. And I'm like, yeah, she must be new because she's standing over there, kind of like looking around, like, okay. And there was a very experienced lady there, and older, but more experienced in the job. And she was not still a moment. There was no like standing around going, what should I do next? No, this woman just kept moving. Um, and I was like, okay, yeah, she's getting trained today by this lady. And, you know, yeah. So yeah, it was a very interesting experience. But uh, Donna's like, that poor girl. I feel bad for her, and I'm like, hey, she'll either make it or she won't. And if she won't, she'll decide, you know what, maybe working in a Waffle House is not what I need to do. You know,
Yeah,
yeah. Study hard, kid. Go back to
You
school.
really
Whatever.
watch the lady that's been doing it for a few
Mm-hmm.
years. Do what she does.
Mm-hmm. And if you decide that that's not what you want to do, and you don't want to go back to school, then go work in a grocery store. The pace is going to be a little different than Waffle House.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Um, Lindsay and I were talking about the varsity today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she had looked it up somewhere or had run across a reference. And she goes, I didn't know that the varsity had drive-through windows. We never saw those. And I go, I stopped at them quite often before we got together. It was a good way to get everything I wanted and come home to my apartment, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, which wasn't all that far away.
Mm-hmm.
And hell, I used to go and get something from the taco stand with no parking in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and then go to the varsity and get onion rings to go with my burrito,
Mm-hmm.
which taco stand did not offer and
Yeah.
still don't. But for some strange reason, that particular day, I thought burritos, tacos, onion rings sounds like a winner to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
I was young then.
Yeah.
uh,
Oh,
there,
okay.
there are so many things a young man can think is, oh, this sounds good,
Oh,
and go and get it and eat every bite and
mm-hmm.
not regret it the next day.
Yeah.
But when you get older, you tend to regret more of your fast food choices.
Oh, some of the same items I used to be fine with. Now it's like, where's the Tums?
Yeah,
Of course, having the gallbladder out didn't help with some of that, I don't think, but it helped with a lot of the not getting sick anymore. So that was really good.
definitely, definitely. Um, I keep waiting for appendix or gallbladder or
Mm-hmm.
something to go. I'm going on strike.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you'll know
Yeah,
what it does.
well,
Yeah.
hasn't happened yet, but um, my sister went in for an exploratory for abdominal pain, and they took a look at her appendix,
Mm.
and it burst while she was on the operating table.
Oh, that was good timing. Get it out while, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. If
Oh,
you're going to have that happen in the middle of an exploratory surgery, is a great time.
yeah.
They're all set up and ready to go,
Well,
and you're already under the anesthetic. So,
getting it cleaned out is much easier when it first happens than weeks later after everything's had a chance to filter into other parts of your body and all throughout your cavities. Oh,
hmm
yeah.
yeah, that was a miracle, and we're glad it happened that way instead of any of the alternatives, except for never happening at all, which was not in the cards.
Uh, Once you're down the road, yeah, you got to do it.
Hmm
When I had the gallbladder, they kept asking me, "Do you have pain in your back, in the lower parts of your back on either side?" I'm like, "No, why?" And they say, "Well, because you have kidney stones." They found it out with the uh, MRI. They sent me through. They said, "We have kidney stones too." I'm like, "Well, I don't feel those now."
Not
Thank you for
yet.
putting that idea in my head, but yeah, but then I did like 2 years after. It's like, ooh, ow, what the heck? And I thought, oh, yeah, it's one of those kidney stones they told me about. And it was the exact symptoms they were describing. They just hadn't hit me yet because I was having too much trouble with the gallbladder. So, sometimes one pain will mask another, and
Hmm
pardon me.
Yeah, I could probably break a toe and never notice because of the pain in my neck right now. Uh,
Hmm. I used to do that. There's something called pain gating in psychology, basically one pain at a time. And
yeah.
if you have a pain that's really bad, you sometimes can like step on one of your toes and with your other foot, and if you cause it to hurt just a little bit, it blocks the other pain. So if I couldn't like get into the dentist really quick to get a tooth out, I would step on my toe for a little bit, and then okay, that would give me some relief. You know, not something to do all the time though.
No, no. Psychosomatics treatments are useful in the short term, but
Mm-hmm.
not the long term.
Right.
Um,
That's just knowing that that ping gating will happen, and the gates will close on one section, open for another. And it's like, oh, hey, this is a new pain. I'm letting this one through. Close the old one because we know that's hurting. Boom, boom. Send this signal through instead, and it's something you're controlling. So it's like, okay, I can deal with that.
yeah, really. If you got a toothache, hit your thumb with a hammer.
Yeah, not that.
That's a bit extreme, but
Yeah,
the principle is the same.
yeah.
Uh, no,
Well,
I used to have migraines really bad
oh
about
yeah.
twice a year,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing worked. No painkiller would touch it. Uh, Nothing worked. I finally found that an ice pack on my forehead and my temples
Mm-hmm.
in a totally dark room,
Mm-hmm.
no noise,
Mm-hmm.
and about 2 hours of that, about the time when the ice was starting to melt really good, everything would gradually ease off
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it would be gone. And then I would discover that somehow or another during the rest of the time when I was suffering with the migraine, I'd jammed a finger or stubbed my toe on a piece of furniture
Oh yeah.
or cut my knee
Yeah.
out on a bunch of briars when I was trying to work in the yard or something. It just, when the migraine pain went away,
Mm-hmm.
my body said, okay,
Yeah.
now
What's
we
next?
get,
It's time for
yeah,
the.
now, now it's time for you to realize you cut your leg open 2 days ago. Um,
Donna's been having trouble with her left knee uh,
uh,
for the past week or so. This better now. So now her right knee, which had to bear the brunt of her weight bearing, is hurting. And she's like, "Well, it wasn't hurting before." Well, yeah. Well, it did
well,
all the work of
you weren't putting all
a
your
year.
weight on that to
Mhm.
free up the one that was hurting before. Yeah.
Now you got that to deal with. So yeah.
I was like after the surgery to repair my knee after the motorcycle wreck,
Mm-hmm.
and I went from being on crutches to using a walker
Mm-hmm.
to the weekend before my doctor told me that I should start walking without it. I was walking without it because one of my best buddies from high school said, "Hey, we're going camping." And I went, "Great." And I'm hobbling around with a walker the first night.
Uh-huh.
Got up the next day and I'm going, you know, I'm tired of being this way. I'm going to try and put some weight on this. And if it hurts too much, I'll go back to using the walker. Got the crutches in the car if I need them,
Mm-hmm.
and just started exercising the muscles that had not been used for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and just going, yeah, it hurts, but it hurts less than having the accident to start with.
Yeah, yeah,
So I can deal with this.
sure.
And by the time I went back to the doctor the next week, he's going, well, it's time for you to give up the crutches and the walker and start putting some weight on that and exercise. And I'm going, I think so too.
Mm.
Didn't tell him a bit about walking around for
Right.
2 days in the campground without any assistance whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it
uh,
sounds like Lisa's had the same experience with the good
with the
leg.
hip replacement, there we
Mm.
go. It took a minute for it to pop up on screen. Took about 10 days of the cane for his good leg to start complaining about the edit.
Mhm.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep. Um,
Oh yeah, I used to see that in rehab a lot when I worked in rehabilitation. Because yeah, yeah, we don't realize how the body works together until part of it isn't working together with everybody else, and then after that's better, then everybody else starts complaining. Is that lazy bum done? Because I could use some attention over here.
yeah, really. Uh,
Okay.
no,
I've got to run down the hall, and my situation is boom, 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 boom. So I will probably leave you here, Dan, and we'll see you tomorrow night or whenever we see
yeah,
you.
yeah. I should wake up in time.
I'll see everybody later.
Bye bye, Carl.
Bye bye.
And, phew, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I hope Carl can get back to sleep and have a good rest through the rest of the day. I'm gonna run the short Aphelion ad just because I can. Hello, I'm Dan Hollifield. I'm the senior editor and publisher of Aphelion Webzine, the world's oldest free creative writing e-zine since 1997. Since then, we have helped over 500 amateur writers learn what they needed to turn pro. www.aphelion-webzine.com and read not only what we've got going on right now, but 28 years worth of our archives of stories. Thank you very much. And we are back. I've actually got a 3-minute intermission I could have run. Maybe if I have to go down the hall, but at the moment, that is not um, something that is entirely necessary. Oh, good grief. I'm not seeing anybody's chats on the iPad in the comments section, but I am seeing them here in YouTube. So that'll do. That'll do. Uh, let's see. What else was I? What else was I monologuing about before Carl came and saved my bacon from being alone tonight? Seeing as how we've only got about 20 minutes before end credits need to roll, but we can end the show early if necessary. No one will mind. I mean, Carl's not going to watch tomorrow. He was here for most of it, so um, arg. I've got to go get a haircut. Uh, only got 20 days till LibertyCon. Lindsay is uh, Consuite staff this year. So we've got our room, we've got our badges, we are ready to go, except for packing clothes. and it's not going to be one of those costume heavy sort of conventions for us. We pretty much decided that Chattanooga in June going to be hot and muggy. We're just going to be comfortable. We're not going to dress up. Although we have in the past. I've got, well, we both have um, not costume contests, but hallway costume contests for the judges would just wander around during the convention and go, "Hey, you've got a neat outfit. Here's a badge. You win." And Lindsay's got one. I've got one. I think the one I got was just for wearing a suit and tie and being dressed up. Evidently, I clean up nicely. Who'd have thunk it? Um, but yeah, Lindsay's was much more significant than mine, I do believe. But, that was a fun weekend. I think that was a weekend where I wound up getting to spend time with um John Ringo out at the pool, just talking and bullshitting around where he was uh, let his hair down pretty much and wasn't on with an audience. It was just him and me, and got to talk to Doc Travis Taylor uh, for a little bit, which it's about all I could. I mean, I'm not anywhere near that well educated. Um, but I can, as a science fiction writer, I can somewhat grasp some of the things that he's much more familiar with. It's the same for Les Johnson. I can carry on a conversation with him when they get beyond my education. I have to uh, bow out because I'm not about to make some sort of joke, make myself look stupid. Um, Stephanie Osborne, one of the best educated people that I know, and still an absolute darling. If you ever get a chance to be at a convention she's at, you are going to be not only highly entertained, but you will find her delightful to have just a conversation with. Um, she's done so much, she's been so much, she is so much. It's like looking into a spotlight sometimes. Is she's just there, and it's so bright and it's so wonderfully illuminating to listen to her talk and to when she's doing uh, one of her lectures on um, uh, the New Madras Fault or Yellowstone volcano or any of the stuff that's just pure science. She is she would have been a fantastic teacher because she puts it in terms that people understand without having to be a college professor. And she's such a great person anyway. I mean, seriously, I love Stephanie. She is just so much fun. She is just absolutely so much fun. Um, oh, where shall we go from here? How do I make a segue into something else? Um, I don't know. Give me a segue. I'll try and figure out what to make out of it. Um, Probably wouldn't be able to ride it without falling down. It's been a long time since I was on roller skates, much less something that only had two wheels, and I'm standing in the middle of it going, depends on how I balance. Balance. What a concept. Uh, what was it, Robin Williams' line? Reality. What a concept, huh? Uh, Thankfully, as a writer of fiction, I am well able to dodge having to interact with reality most of the time because I live inside my head mostly, and it's okay. They all know me there. Um, it's like Cheers. Everybody knows my name. Uh, I don't know why I keep looking at the wall over there. There's nothing there but a small battle axe, well, two battle axes and a bunch of photographs and stuff in my beer fridge, which still has four beers in it that I have yet to open up. I don't know what's happening to my capacity on these shows. I have been drinking a whole lot less during the conversations than I used to. Instead of going through six in less than 2 hours and having to go back to the dining room to open up the other fridge and get some more. I've still got four over there. I've only had like three since 9 o'clock. Um, I'm not being mature. No, and certainly not because I'm getting old, but it's certainly not because I'm getting pickled either. Um, I don't know. Some nights there's just a lot left in the fridge when I get up the next day and have to take them to the other fridge to maintain their chill. Um, it's just one of those little. It's not really a fridge. It's more of a cooler. Uh, it won't keep drinks cold more than overnight. If you put it, it'll only hold six normal size drink cans. Doesn't matter whether it's beer or soda, whatever it is. It'll only hold six of them at the most. And if you leave any in there overnight, they're not going to be as cold. They're going to gradually warm up as the little, it's not even a refrigerator, like I said, it's just a chiller kind of becomes unable to cope with the ambient temperature of the room and things start getting warm again. You have to go and put them in an actual refrigerator for a while to get cooled off again for the next day, the next night, whatever it is, whatever the occasion is. Um, Tonight, Thursday night, yep, we've gone through Stupid O'Clock, and I am very surprised that we've gone through Last Man Standing. Thank you, Carl. If you had not shown up, I doubt that I would have been here to be able to see Thesis's comment or Mike Jimmy's comments or Foxy's comments, and I would have missed out. I really would. Um, that's the nice thing about doing this. the people that watch regularly have become friends, even though most of them are so far away. The likelihood of being able to ever meet them is diminished. Mike Jimmy might be able to eventually come to Joe Dog's Hallowcon convention in October. That would be nice, but Mike Jimmy and Luz have a brand new baby, Aurora, who is the most adorable little girl. But you having a newborn baby has a way of readjusting your financial requirements and your um, vacation ability. Uh, I just can't see. I mean, I've raised so many kids. Um, Seriously, I've helped raise so many kids. That's a more accurate way of saying that. Um, but a babe in diapers is an expensive proposition. Well worth it. Absolutely beyond any measure of reward. It's just raising kids of any age is expensive. They don't have to be newborns. They can be of any age whatsoever up until they go, hey, tired of asking for the car keys, going to get a job in an apartment and move out. There's a variable age range in there depending on every different family's um, circumstances. I think that would be the best way to put it. Um, you know, um, I wouldn't have missed out on any of it for the world. Not when I was helping with younger cousins and just being a glorified babysitter, or helping with stepchildren or step grandchildren or step great grandchildren, or um, my little brother is going to be a great grandfather very soon, and we will have a great great grandnephew, Lindsay and I. And with any luck, we'll be able to spoil them rotten and send them home. Um, feed them chocolate and turn them over to their parents. Serves you right. Uh, oh, Lord. Um, I look forward to seeing my niece's next art project, whatever she decides it will be. She's she's a very very excellent artist. She's been down in Savannah going to art school for a few years. Um, she has hopes of being hired on by Disney or Pixar. She's definitely got the talent. Whether or not they make it possible, that's another thing. But she's definitely got the talent. She may actually wind up having to go freelance like Mike Jimmy and do their own thing independently and making a name for themselves that way. And by themselves, I meant Mike, Jimmy, and uh, my niece Taylor. Um, just mm, their work is nothing alike, totally different styles, but animation, drawing, still, what is the term? Not still life. Um, Most people would think of it as just normal artwork, uh, landscapes, almost engineering drawing. Just, there's so much that people with that level of ability who have taken the time to explore that ability and practice it and uh, polish it can do that. It just absolutely amazes me. I'm just absolutely gobsmacked with some of the things that people do, uh, and that a lot of them don't consider it to be as exceptional as it is because it's just, well, in quotes, it's just me. Uh, I feel the same way about music that I write or stories that I write. It's just me. Why is everybody making such a fuss? And then somebody grabs me by the lapels and goes, "Listen here, I like this. Do more." And I'm going, "Okay, okay, okay. Just let my feet touch the ground again, will you?" Um, the fires of creativity burn brightly, but they also tend to have this underlayer of what Nick Dockert calls imposter syndrome. It's it's just me. I don't see why everybody thinks this is so good. It's just what I do. And look, no matter how good you are, you may see room for improvement that other people are going, you are so far beyond that. In your head, you're going to be telling yourself, I can do better. I can do better. I can do better. I've learned. No, this is the important part. Excuse me. I have to cut that sentence off before or that clause off before I finish it. I can do better. I can do better. I can do better. Yeah, maybe now. The part that I had to stop myself from saying so that I can rephrase it as a separate sentence is I learned so much doing this project that if I had only just now with this knowledge started this project, it would be 1,000 times better. Well, yeah, excuse me. The concept of learning is strange to you. You always learn by doing. Uh, you might be able to watch a YouTube video and figure out how to uh, put more RAM in your computer or um, change a carburetor or put a new alternator on your car or whatever. Yeah, but the actual practice of doing something, the actual practice of creating something and then refining it teaches you so much more than somebody telling you this is A, fold tab A into slot B. Yeah. Um, and thesis, you're exactly right. Imposter syndrome sucks. Took them years to come to terms with people actually wanting to read things I write and still struggle with it. Welcome to my world. I find it incredible that anybody is willing to spend money on anything that I've ever done. And then I sit down and I will read something I wrote. And because I am the audience I write for, I'll get lost in the story. Lost in the sauce is what I started to say. Um, I'll get lost in my own story as if I were not the writer. And it's so much fun to read through these and to because I have so much fun. I am willing to create with abandon. I'm writing it for me as long as I like it. Doesn't matter if anybody else ever does. When somebody else does, I find that really, well, I guess odd is the only way to put it, but it's surprising, is what it is. Um, Submitting to Aphelion and hearing how much you enjoy my writing gave you the motivation to keep going, even though you decided you weren't a writer and said you were going to give it up entirely. Thesis, never stop. Never stop. Um, how can I put this succinctly? Imposter syndrome is a bully, and you have never in your life submitted willingly to a bully. Don't do it now. Don't do it now. You know you're good. Insecurity, imposter syndrome, call it what you like. It'll always be that voice in the back of your head, in your back of your mind, that imitates other bullies and going, no, no, you don't need to be doing this. But if it feels right, if it's something that you enjoy yourself, then it's no different from training with the staff or the bow or one of your swords or just the physical exercise to keep yourself fit. It's a learned skill to be able to go from the blank page to, hey, this has potential, to, oh, I love this. And not feel bad about it, not feel guilty about it. And you don't, there's no reason. It's just writing is one of the most difficult things ever. Not only do you have to be able to tell a story, no matter what genre you're doing, you have to tell a story in a way that makes your readers want to read through the entire thing or makes them want more. It goes back as far as human history. It goes back to tribal campfires and somebody sitting there, and it might be a simple ghost story. It might be, oh, those evil people on the other side of the hill, or it might be, oh, I saw this thing when I was up on the mountain, and I can't explain it, but it seems so strange. And there I went into storyteller mode and dropped my voice and all this other stuff. Yeah, I probably should do some more audio things, but that takes so long to do the recording and edit the recording and then turn it into a video and video. I'd have to have something else going on in the background. It wouldn't be a good video if I just sat there with a piece of paper in front of my face reading stuff. And you know what I'm talking about. All right, we've actually gone past the 2-hour limit. So that is a full show when I expected to be about 5 minutes long. Surprised myself, and thank you, Carl, for helping me not end it early. I am really, really grateful. I'm not going to run any more of the ads or anything. I'm just going to go, thank you very much, everybody. I hope this, when I was monologuing, was not too boring. If it was, hey, I can record a couple of hours of me talking, and you can use it as a replacement for Somnix next time you've got insomnia for a phenomenal fee. Just pay me when it works. And on that note, let's tell the bedtime story and get out of here. Good night.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.